Some news broke toward the end of last week. Here's the headline. Attractive woman fired from Incel Podcast Network. As you can see, Candace Owens out at the Daily Wire.
I didn't see that. Nicely done. Nicely done, partner.
Yeah. Candace Owens has been let go from her show at the Daily Wire. She didn't exactly see it coming, but she didn't exactly not see it coming, it sounds like to me, because we're going to play a couple of short pieces from her final broadcast as the host. Here's one that's not very subtle.
To be honest with you, because everybody's noticing it. Every single political commentator in America, every single one of them knows this, that if you do not step out and say things that are radically pro-Israel, or if you are too quiet on certain narratives and they want you to be radically pro-Israel, you can lose everything. That's truth. That is a fact. I'm not feeling like I need to hide from that anymore or be afraid to say it, rather, is a better way to say it, because I've endured this for years. I'm just at the end of my rope. I have given so much rope here, and I am just done with it.
So there's clip number one. Here's clip number two, where she apparently anticipates being back for another show, but listen to this.
Weeks, I will be out to Israel, and I will be out to Gaza, and I will be able to report to you guys what it is that I actually see. But I also want to say this because it's so important. I am Team God. Okay? I'm Team God. I do not fear the media. I do not fear journalists. I do not fear AIPAC. I don't fear Big Pharma. What I actually fear is God. I think that one day we are all going to have to account for the things that we have done and the things that we have said, and I want to make sure that I am not a person that is parroting lies. The fear of losing your job, encouraging some people to spit out lies, I don't think that works in the end, right? I think you've got to check your priorities. And so with that said, I want to thank everybody who has been on this journey with me, people that have supported me. I especially want to thank all of the Jewish people that have been in the comments saying how outraged they are. And I know that it is especially difficult for you guys right now because you are being smeared, you know? I mean, I'm not going to go away. I'm going to use my God-given voice to talk about the things that are important for me. I'm just asking to be left alone, or at least just report the truth. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. But don't worry, because we will see you tomorrow for a brand new episode.
We're on a mission from God.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't see her tomorrow. And she says, I'm not going away. Usually when you say, I'm not going away, don't worry, I'm not going away, that usually means you can see some kind of writing on the wall. Sure. Here's Jeremy Boring, co-founder, CEO of the Daily Wire. On March 22nd in the morning, Daily Wire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship. Candace Owens then just 45 minutes later at 10:03 says, the rumors are true. I am finally free. If you would like to support my work, you can head to CandaceOwens.com, where you'll be directed to her locals page, or you can give it Go Candace. There will be many announcements in the weeks to come. I like Dave Smith's reaction. Okay, fine. Every now and then, facts care about feelings. Yes. Yes. Oh, they got roasted for this good, and boy, did they deserve it. So here's a clip that was found by this account here, SL Canthan. Cancel culture only on the left. Slimy Ben Shapiro a long time ago explaining how anyone who is labeled a racist gets canceled by the left, but now he cancels Candace for anti-Semitism. Here is the clip that he found.
Conservatives are not interested in canceling other conservatives, and they're not going to go along with this. If you're on the left, you probably will be canceled because your own crowd is going to flee from you screaming and running for the hills with their hair on fire the minute that you are called out as anything approaching a racist.
Okay, well, looks like that's kind of what you
What
did,
a terrible
right?
thing. What
Yes.
a terrible thing that would be.
Yes. Well, good thing we don't do things that way over here. So there you have it. Candace Owens out at Daily Wire, canceled for racism, canceled for bigotry, if you will, for anti-Semitism.
She may not have known that that day would be the day, but certainly I don't watch her show. But if that's typical of the show she's been doing, she's been trying to get fired. That is where you want to get fired to collect your unemployment. Only in her case, it's to go independent.
Right.
I thought that was pretty interesting that now that I'm seeing it a second time, yes, she was saying there that she's planning on going to Israel and to Gaza. I have long said about Candace Owens that I felt after watching some of her stuff and watching a documentary about her and other black conservatives. I believe it's still up on Amazon if you want to see it. I found it very interesting. It was called Uncle Tom. And, you hear from people, oh, she's a grifter. I didn't get that impression. I got that impression that she had, over the course of her political evolution, become more religious, clearly, as a person, but also gravitated towards a certain school of thought within black intellectual life that has an old and respected pedigree of, hey, depending on the government in a racist country is not really gonna be good for us. That's not really the way to get ahead. The way to get ahead is to do our own thing, have our own businesses, be entrepreneurial, and not depend on that system. And she just did an interview with the Breakfast Club that was also very interesting, where she said, I get accused of denying that there's racism. I never said that. Now, hey, I'm not encyclopedic on Candace Owens. Maybe she's denying something she did say. So I want to make that clear. But at least within that interview, she's saying, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe there's not these obstacles. I just don't believe that this is the way to approach those issues. And, she has a critique of the welfare state that I've said before. As somebody who grew up on welfare, I'm sympathetic. Actually, in that Breakfast Club interview, she brought up how welfare in a lot of ways destroyed black households. And it's something I have personal experience with, not the black part, but she talks about how you would get your welfare cut if you had a man in the house, and they would send people to check the houses to see if there's a man in the house, because that means there's income coming in from another person, right? So you're not supposed to have it. My mother never got remarried out of fear that the welfare would get cut.
Right.
I couldn't have a job on the books because so what does that do? You're already an awkward teenager. You got to go be like, hey, I'm looking for a job, but it's got to be off the books. You're not going to do that. So eventually you just don't work because you're just embarrassed. Because, again, you have a welfare house. You're afraid to have that income coming into the house. And rightly so. Like, what's going to happen? Now your kid has to work to support the family because they're going to cut the check based on what the kid is bringing in. So there are a lot of issues that a lot of well-meaning people don't understand about the welfare state. So, man, again, it's one of those topsy-turvy world things. We have a running theme tonight because you have Candace Owens taking this principled stand on Israel, even though she's working, as you pointed out, at a network aimed at Christian conservatives run by fanatical Zionist Jews.
Right. Right.
And we're going to be doing Tucker Carlson doing work with interviewing Uhuru that you don't see on these supposed home of progressives networks. I see TYT feature these people. Majority Report. You see them invite Uhuru on, but we're supposed to regard him as the Russian plant or the arch conservative when he's doing actual journalism. So it's another example of how the whole right-left idea has just been blown apart.
Yeah, and we'll get more into the Uhuru segment later because actually O'Malley touches on the welfare issue from a left point of view.
He does. And that's very interesting. That also there's a left tradition of that. Yeah. Of like, hey, stay away from the government. They're going to fuck you anyway.
Well, yeah, and there's more to it than that, but we'll get to that when that segment comes up. But yeah,
I mean, it seems like they have the same critique, which has been, and you hear this from black conservatives and black leftists, that they brought welfare into the community to destroy it.
Well, he also attacks it from another angle too, which we'll get to when we get to it. But yes, there's certainly some of that in there. But yeah, Candace Owens finally, I think, got to a point where she realized she didn't need anybody You know, when you're that big, you don't need anybody,
Sure,
you know, and what you have to do when you're that big is you have to stay honest, because the only way you can fuck yourself if you've made it as far as Candace Owens, if you expose yourself as someone who doesn't mean what they say,
That's
that can
it.
damage you. But as long as you mean what you say, you can pretty much go your own way. I'm sure she's doing very well on locals already. And so, you know, she will be just fine.
She'll probably end up doing better. I mean, in terms of finances, following, there is a lane for a Candace Owens a mile wide in alternative media.
Oh, sure. And she will be independent now.
Please clap.